Assalamu alaikum dear students. We are discussing the hemolytic anemias and we have discussed the several types of hereditary types of the hemolytic anemias like glucose 6-phosphate deficiency and hereditary spherocytosis. In the separate lecture we will discuss the sickle cell anemias. In the current lecture we are mainly discussing the immune type acquired disorders of the hemolytic anemias, that is autoimmune hemolytic anemias. These disorders are come into the problem in the hemoglobin, so they are also called as the hemoglobinopathies. What is the autoimmune hemolytic anemia? That is the anemia in which the body own system acts upon the RBCs and they damage as the RBC cells have an antigen, the body producing the antibodies against that antigens. The incidence is not so much high, that is 1 in about 100,000 per year. However, this is also a problematic condition. It can occur at any age. However, if the person is become older, the most chances is for the development of these antibodies. If we talk about this logically, it is divided into two types by the Coombs test. The test in which the antibodies get react with the RBCs in the form of the cold or in the form of the warm temperature. हम क्या करेंगे? We are changing the temperature, or on that basis we can differentiate, we can treat it as a two types of the autoimmune hemolytic anemia. This is the warm autoimmune hemolytic anemia and there will be the cold autoimmune hemolytic anemia. When antibodies bind at the 37 Celsius degree, it is called as the warm antibody autoimmune hemolytic anemia. If the antibodies bind with the RBC at the lower temperature, not at 37 degrees Celsius, that is it bind only at 4 degrees centigrade or below 4 degrees centigrade, it is considered as the cold autoimmune hemolytic anemia. The anemia results from the presence of the auto antibodies. It get agglutinate or lysate the patient's own erythrocytes. If we talk about the warm autoimmune hemolytic anemia, it is usually extravascular. It is mediated by the immunoglobulin G. While in case of the cold autoimmune hemolytic anemia, antibody binds and the antibody type present is the immunoglobulin M. There is a impaired blood flow through the fingers, nose, toe and ears when they are exposed to cold. There are generalized symptoms. What are the clinical presentations of the autoimmune hemolytic anemia? Common symptoms are the symptoms of the anemia like tiredness, and they also depend upon the condition and the severity, if the person is exposed to the higher temperature or if the person is exposed to the lower temperature. So the warm autoimmune hemolytic anemia are related to the severity, severe type of the hemolytic anemia, and they are mainly most of the time presents with the acute or chronic both type of the anemia. There will be a splenomegaly. Well, in case of chronic cold hemolytic anemia, there will be there may be splenomegaly, and this mainly mostly effect on the fingers. There is the reduction of the blood supply to the finger, legs, etc. These are the etiology that it can occur at all age groups. However, females are more liable to have the warm type autoimmune hemolysis. The reason is not known, 50% is unknown reason, while some secondary causes are there. Like there may be a neoplasia, like lymphoid neoplasia, there may be a chronic lymphocytic leukemia, there may be a lymphoma or any other solid tumors, lung, colon cancer, kidney cancer, thyoma. There may be SLE or any other autoimmune disorder, rheumatoid arthritis. There may be a CTD, which is autoimmune connective tissue disorder, CTD, connective tissue disorder. Certain drugs are there like alpha-methyl dopa, penicillin, quinine, chloroquines. They are causing the warm type of the autoimmune hemolysis. Certain miscellaneous reasons are also there. In case of HIV virus and in case of ulcerative colitis, there will be a fever and that lead to the warm type of autoimmune hemolysis. The shape of the RBC is variable. There may be a stereotype, but there is a more hemolytic anemia. So usually a positive direct home test indicates the presence of the antibodies to the red blood cells. Further, laboratory serological testing helps to determine the exact nature of the reactions. While if it is a drug-induced hemolytic anemia, it is very difficult to distinguish from other forms of the autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and the clear medication history will help out the person to rule out that what is the etiology, what is the main factor. The antibodies produced may react with the red cells only in the presence of the drug and may also react without the drug being present. So this is very difficult to distinguish these two types of the anemia. Either it is cold or either it is due to the warm type autoimmune disorder plus drugs. दोनों मिलकर जो है इसकी diagnosis difficult करती हैं. So for investigation, there is a hemolysis. There will be an evaluation of the peripheral sphere that show the microspherocytosis. RBC cells are very small and very sphere. Confirmation will be confirmed by the Coombs test and that is the antiglobulin test. What are the treatments? We have to correct the underlying cause. We have to give the prednisolone. The standard dose of the warm autoimmune hemolytic anemia is to use too high dose of the corticosteroids. Autoimmune है, हमें antibodies का जो reaction है वो stop करना है. We have to take the prednisolone. 1 mg per kg, it means कि अगर 50 kg का patient है तो 50 mg per kg are very high dose of the prednisolone equivalent to the dose that is usually used in the cancer chemotherapy. This dose is continue until and unless their levels of the hemoglobin will increase that the 10 gram per deciliter. After that the levels are reached and the body will reduce the hemolysis by the blocking of the antibody antigen reactions. Then we have to taper the dose of the prednisolone slowly. If there is a problem in the very life-threatening condition, then we may transfuse the blood. If there is no response to the steroids, we have to go for the splenectomy to reduce the hemolysis. Certain other immunosuppressive agents like azithromycin and cyclophosphamide can be used. This treatment is very successful and the condition is reversed back, and within 3 weeks, symptomatic treatment will lead to the regain of the achievement of the normal requirement of the hemoglobin levels. Rituximab is basically a monoclonal antibody, anti-CD20 monoclonal antibody. This is found very effective in a last choice or a second choice for the autoimmune hemolytic anemia along with the corticosteroids or the steroids. However, this is the unlicensed indication. Basically, this is reserved for the lymphomas. That it is a monoclonal antibody. It is unlicensed drug, so necessary pre-treatment with the paracetamol and chlorpheniramine should be given because of other side effects regarding the chemotherapeutic effects. Antiemetics and pain may be there, so that will be prevented by the use of the paracetamol and chlorpheniramine. You must remember that H1 receptor blockers mainly are anti-allergics. However, histamine they block the insulin synthesis. However, they have the anti-muscarinic effects. They have their side effects. Due to this side effects, they decreases the GI motility and decreases the symptoms of the nausea and vomiting. So they are considered as a antiemetics. Then we have the cold hemolysis with the difference of investigation that the peripheral sphere having a same microspherocytosis with the difference of the IgM instead of the IgG. There may be other causes of the cold agglutinations that in which their blood gets agglutinized when the temperature of the blood is less than 37 degrees Celsius. In case of the mycoplasma infection, pneumonia, in case of the infection of the mononucleosis, and in rare type, it may be occur in the children that are associated with the contagious syphilis. What is the difference in the treatment? we have to treat the underlying cause, and we have to keep the extremities warm. It is the cold induced autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Here, rituximab can be used, but initially steroids were used previously. However, now in the practice, now it has been reported now that steroids have no role now, and rituximab should be the choice with the addition of the leudrabine, an anti-metabolite of the cytarabine type anti-cancerous drug. So a different approach is being taken for the cold-induced hemolytic anemia. Therapeutic intervention should be considered if the patient is symptomatic, especially in case of severe symptoms. Furthermore, there is no need of the splenectomy because if the temperature is controlled, then there will be no hemolysis.